Hi there from Chicago. Mike Hall here. Glad to have you with us. Gatorade is bringing you this edition of Big Ten today. Got a lot coming up. A softball breakdown, a track and field interview, baseball breakdown as well. But we start off on the hardwood for today's big story because it is all about the NBA Combine happening now in Chicago. Plenty of Big Ten stars showing off their attributes, including the two Rutgers stars, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. A year ago, when we first found out they were both heading to Piscataway, it was clear they'd be high on NBA scouts' radars ASAP, and they are indeed, perhaps even able to go both in the top 3 in the upcoming draft. Now, it's assumed Cooper Flagg from Duke will be number 1, and that means off to Dallas, but Harper and Bailey theoretically could go 2-3, meaning San Antonio and Philly are awaiting them. Andy Katz was awaiting some interviews with them, and they obliged.
You and Ace, a lot of hype coming in, didn't reach the NCAA tournament, but you're both reaching your individual goals of being top 5 picks. What does that say about this past year?
I mean, obviously we would love to make the tournament, have all the team accomplishments, but, you know, sometimes life just don't go your way, you know. We got to bounce back and figure it out. But me and Ace are definitely very blessed to be in this position, you know. And we're just going to enjoy the process. I had a great time at Rutgers. It wasn't a Cinderella story, but, I mean, I would have switched it for the world. I mean, I love my time here at Rutgers.
How does your game translate so easily to the NBA type game?
I mean, really just whatever coach needs, you know. I'm going to be in there. I'm going to help whatever you need me to score, need me to facilitate, need me to pass, play defense. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to help the team win. And
what did you learn the most about the NBA from your father?
Really just how competitive it is, and just you got to go out there and work every day. I mean, every day is a grind. You got to come in and do your job.
Ace, what do you think you proved the most during that 1 year at Rutgers?
What I proved competitiveness. I like to compete. I mean, very humble person. I mean, I proved that I can be a great teammate on and off the court.
Your biggest strength, your reach, your ability to be a rim protector. How much are you able to compensate, whether you may not be the tallest forward, that you're able to still be very effective in the post?
I mean, athletic. I mean, I use my athletic to my advantage. I mean, a lot of people can't jump as high, but a lot of people can jump high. So I use my athletic ability to most as possible.
I know you said that you guys didn't reach your goals, didn't make the NCAA tournament, but you and Dylan came in, all the hype, slam, all that, and yet both of you are going to be in the top 5 in the lottery. How does that make you feel that you both are achieving that individual goal here in the spring?
I mean, it's a blessing. I mean, me and D-Harp, I mean, being in this position, I mean, coming from Rutgers, I mean, it's good. We putting on for Rutgers University, Big Ten also, but it's good.
Those two names are expected to go highest among Big Ten names in the draft, but they are not alone, not at all. Some big ones like Derek Queen, Danny Wolf, Vlad Golden, big literally. You see the list of notable invites here. Some other Big Ten players who are only in the league 1 season but made a big impact include Illini youngsters Kaspers Yakachonis and Will Riley, who also talked with Andy.
Kaspers, how did your game change the most from playing in Spain to at Illinois?
Yeah, so I think it just, like I said before, just being a true leader of the team, try to inspire others, motivate them to win, to see the vision that we have, just inspire everybody, making plays for the team, just trying to be the best version of I can be.
You told me on Monday that you've gotten stronger. How ready are you for that contact to sort of play through it as you're driving to the basket at the next level?
Yeah, so obviously that's the thing I'm working on is in the weight room, putting my strength, my foot speed and everything in the weight room. I think it's very important, especially moving forward. And I won't stop improving on that area. I won't stop doing that. And I think with the process, all will come.
And lastly, how did Brad Underwood and his staff sort of prepare you for this phase of your life?
I think just talking to people that they know that someone been through. They coached a lot of great players, and just talking, and I won't say secrets we talked about, but just communicating with them probably, yeah.
What did you get the most out of your freshman year at Illinois?
I feel like adversity. I faced a lot of adversity throughout the season, and I feel like that is what made me for sure. Like, I was able to get through that and show that I can get through that, and I think that means a lot to me and other coaches.
What is it about Brad Underwood and their staff that international players, whether they're overseas or from Canada, are able to flourish at Illinois?
They just allow you to show that no matter where you are in the world, that you can play ball for sure.
What's it going to mean to you to hear not only your own name, but Kaspers's name? So 2 Illini players likely, somewhere in the first round.
Yeah, it'll be great to hear. Obviously me and Kaspers are very close. I was rooming with him every hotel trip we were on, so we built a relationship, and it'll just be cool.
And, of course, the bloodlines have always been good with this one. Jace Richardson, the child of Jason Richardson. Only 1 year for him under Tom Izzo, but he's off to the next level. Fox Sports' John Fanta projecting he goes 14th overall. You see his college numbers compared to his dad's. Here's Jace with Andy.
Jace, what did you learn the most about yourself in your freshman year at Michigan State?
Just who I am as a player. I think credit to Coach Izzo. He really taught me a lot of things. I think my IQ really grew with him, just him teaching me everything I needed to know.
You say who you are as a player. Who are you as a player in terms of the description of you as a player?
I think I just became a better 3-level scorer. I can score at all 3 levels, facilitate for my teammates, make some plays for them, and I'm a solid on-ball defender.
All right, so the height was a little bit of a discrepancy from what we were told, a little shorter, but you were able to compensate for that during the season. How do you make up for that in the NBA?
Just by doing all the little things, rebounding, hustling, being a team player, just doing things like that.
What have you learned from your father and the entire Michigan State family of getting ready for the NBA?
Have as much fun with it as possible. You only get to do this experience once, so enjoy it.
NCAA softball tournament bracket was announced May 11th. The 64-team field saw every team assigned to one of 16 regionals. That includes a whole bunch of Big Ten squads. No conference team has won it all since 2005 Michigan, though UCLA won it 6 years ago before joining the conference. Rick Pizzo joins the show now to help preview it all with Tara Henry from Softball America. Rick?
Well, Tara, let's start with the Big Ten's highest ranked and highest seeded team in the NCAA regionals. That would be UCLA at home, opening up against UCSB, Arizona State, San Diego State, also in this regional. UCLA makes it to the Big Ten championship game before being shut down by Michigan's outstanding pitching staff. What should we know about UCLA heading into this regional, and how likely is it that we see the Bruins next week in the Supers?
I think for the Bruins, they were going back and forth on whether the Bruins were going to get a top 8 seed, and slipping in at that 9 seed will just have that regional bid. But it's not an easy region. The Bruins are going to have to get through a red-hot Santa Barbara team, an ASU team that has Quincy Brown on it, one of the best pitchers in the country, and obviously San Diego State, who knows the Bruins quite well, with Stacey Newman-Denise, a former All-American, 4-time All-American at UCLA. So a lot for the Bruins to unpack. But when you take a look at this first matchup, we've got to talk about Jo Evans and the job that she's done at Santa Barbara. 43 years that program's been about, and this is just the 4th time the Gauchos will be in the tournament. We're facing off against a Bruin team which has plenty of arms in the circle. The Bruins are going to have great performances from Caitlin Terry in the circle, the left-hander, Taylor Tinsley, and then you can't talk about the Bruins without the Bruin Bombers and Jordan Woolery and Megan Grant. Woolery up top 10 finalists for Player of the Year. The pair of them with 70-plus RBI, just incredible season, 20-plus home runs. And then Savannah Pola just really getting it done for the Bruins. And another player that's under the radar is Kanaya Bragg, the shortstop. She's filling in for Alina Garcia, who 3rd week of the season is out with an injury. So what the Bruins are going to have to do is really have good at-bats, great pitching. We should see the Bruins get through this regional, but it's not easy by any means, because you saw San Diego State in the beginning of the season have a really great Clearwater tournament in Florida, beating multiple top Power 4 teams in the country. So it's not easy by any means, but it is a regional that the Bruins should get out of as the highest seed in the Big Ten.
Anytime you have 3 arms that solid that you could put inside the circle, that's a huge advantage for Coach I and UCLA. Meanwhile, the regular season champ Oregon Ducks. They were the #1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, Tara, but they did fall a little bit short. Like UCLA ran into a really hot Michigan pitching staff, and they were unable to get the offense going. But with Lindsey Grine inside the circle, they're always going to be tough to beat. They have a regional in which they are obviously favored to get out of. They'll open up against Weber State, Binghamton, and Stanford also in that regional. What's your take right now on an Oregon team that's probably a little bit more well-rested than it wants to be after the exit from the Big Ten tournament was earlier than we all expected?
Yeah, how about the Oregon Ducks coming in and the regular season champs in the Big Ten? Melissa Lombardi in her 7th season, Big Ten Coach of the Year. What I love about the Oregon Ducks is the offense is so dynamic. 158 steals as a team. Kylie Shar now has 54 bags. That's incredible. But not only can they do it on the offensive end, they play great defense in that they're ranked 3rd in the nation with a 982 fielding percentage. So when you can hit the ball and have great defense, good things are going to happen. And then you add in Lindsey Grine, who you talked about, with a 1.94 ERA. She's been getting it done in the circle for the Ducks. They might be more rested than they liked, but as a 16 seed, this is a regional. It's actually easier, in my opinion, than the Los Angeles regional. That the Ducks, it's favorable for the Ducks. And when you take a look at the 2 freshmen in Riley McCoy and Stephanie Mayaki with double-digit home runs, that makes for a really great rounded-out staff to play a Weber State team that was 28-30 in the Big Sky. Went on a huge run, and they're 0-8 against the Ducks, but they did play earlier in the year, so they are a little bit familiar with each other. They played back in February, and a player to watch for Weber State would be Olivia Brickshaw. She has 13 home runs on the year. She just hit 3 last year in the Big Sky tournament. So look to see her. You may see J.C. Finch or Brooke Merrill in the circle, but I really think it's Callie McCraw who's going to toe the line for Weber State against the Ducks. But again, I do believe that this is an easier draw in Eugene than the Los Angeles regional.
That's the good news for Oregon. Obviously, the bad news would be if you get out of this regional, most likely as the 16 seed, that means you'd have to face the #1 overall seed in the Supers, and Texas A&M's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Now we focus on Nebraska with one of the best players in the country in Jordy Ball, and Rhonda Revelle has been there, done that with this team so often. Nebraska opens up against UConn, LSU in Southeast Louisiana, also in this regional, which is hosted by LSU. You know, Tara, I found it interesting in the Big Ten tournament because Nebraska had a great run, and then in that game that they lost to UCLA, Jordy Ball gives up a couple of homers to the bottom of the UCLA lineup, and she also struck out 3 times. Now, that's an anomaly that very rarely happens, but I think it did show a little bit how much this team truly relies on one player in most moments.
Well, she's huge. Jordy Ball is a generational talent, and she is a player that any team doesn't want to face in their regional. And this Baton Rouge regional is by far the toughest region throughout all 16. It's got in Baton Rouge, the LSU team that did not want to draw a Nebraska squad with Jordy Ball. And like you said, we'll play UConn in that first game. But what I love about the Huskers is Jordy does it on both sides of the ball, and she leads from the front. But 98 home runs throughout the team. We've got 14 different players that have hit the long ball. Yes, they do rely on Jordy, but you've got Ava Cusack with 19 home runs and Samantha Bland with 10. So you've got players that can hit the ball out of the yard. And then, like you said, Jordy Ball on both sides, a 1.57 ERA. She is going to be the difference in this regional. How much she's got to throw is going to be really important, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ball throws every single inning as that regional if it needs to be done. We've seen her do it before. She's a competitor. She comes with that energy, and they're going to face a Husky squad in UConn that has been really impressive to watch. It's their 8th Big East Tournament championship and their first since 2001. It's their 431 season, but Grace Jenkins, the catcher there, leads the offense with a 425 average. She's got 21 home runs on the season. an over 1,400 OPS. It is a region that is high on offense, and it is going to be exciting to watch. Not only the pitchers in that region, but it's the offense. We're really going to shine a light on those offensive numbers throughout that region in Baton Rouge. And it is arguably the toughest region in all 16 with LSU, Southeastern Louisiana, UConn, and Nebraska.
Speaking of another high-octane offensive regional, we head down to the Knoxville Regional. Tennessee is the host. It's where Ohio State will open up against North Carolina. Miami of Ohio also in that regional. Ohio State was among the national leaders, Tara, this year, all year long. Home runs, RBIs. This is a team that absolutely rakes, but this is going to be anything but easy to not just get through North Carolina, but obviously one of the top seeds in the country in Tennessee at home.
And this is a repeat of the 2019 regional with Ohio State and Tennessee and North Carolina. But Kiran Kumar, she, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated offensive minds in the game. It's just incredible what she's been able to do with that Buckeyes offense. 137 home runs compared to 65 a year ago. Every starter has an OPS over 1,000. And they lead the nation in multiple categories: runs scored, home runs, slugging percentage, and have been shut out just one time this season against UCLA. The key here is giving up the long ball on the other side. I think the pitching is going to be really key for the Buckeyes. Lauren Butte with a 3.7 ERA. And a lot of innings pitched, 140 innings pitched. That rise ball is the one that tends to get hit out of the yard. So I think focusing on the pitching and maybe just having an offense that's going to score more than the other team is going to be really pivotal. But again, a North Carolina squad that they're facing in game one that is one that not to shy away from. Megan Smith-Lyon has done an incredible job there in her second season. Kat Rodriguez leads the country in RBIs, and they're not a team to shy away from. So it's going to be a tough round matchup. Should they be able to get through the Tar Heels, then we'll have to face a Carlin Pickens, which we all know is throwing 78 miles per hour and the two-time SEC pitcher of the year. So a tall task ahead for the Buckeyes, but a team that has the offense that can do it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kiran Kumar does with this squad.
And what they can do inside the circle. Their exit from the Big Ten tournament occurred after they jumped on Purdue with 4 runs, but then gave up 14 unanswered to lose that game and come up a little bit short. All right, let's finish with the Big Ten tournament champions, the Michigan Wolverines. They'll head to Austin, where Texas is the host of that regional. Eastern Illinois is the 4 seed, but Michigan will open against UCF. Tara, right now, this pitching staff with Lauren Durkowski and Aaron Hayne is pitching, at least as far as those two, as well as any 1-2 combination in the country. How much confidence do you think Bonnie Thole's team heads to Austin riding right now after that Big Ten tournament win?
A ton of confidence. And this is a Wolverine squad that we didn't know if they were going to make it into the tournament. So being able to be in control of their own destiny was so important in going and winning the Big Ten tournament championship. And Bonnie Thole, in just her 3rd season at the helm, I just would be really tough to face both Durkowski and Hen in the circle for the Wolverines. But I think it's something that the UCF Knights are a scrappy team. Like, this is not an easy region by any means for Texas, the number 6 team in the country. But you've got to think that a team that is on a 6-game winning streak with wins over Oregon, Purdue, and UCLA is going to be one that is rolling and hot at the right moment. Again, UCF is led by Cindy Ball Malone. This is the first time Michigan will face a Big 12 team this season. And the Knights, they've been up and down all season long, but Isabella Vega and Caitlin Felton will be in the circle for the Knights to keep an eye out. And on the offense, Sierra Humphreys leads that offense along with Aubrey Evans. But a Michigan team and a Bonnie Thole squad that is really clicking on all cylinders heading into the tournament, and a team that you wouldn't really want to have in your region, knowing the history of Michigan softball, knowing that they always have aces in the circle that are going to limit runs, and it's tough to score runs against this squad, especially against those 2 arms in the circle.
Tara Henry, a ton of great info on some of the Big Ten teams, 8 overall getting set to start their NCAA regional play coming up this Friday. Tara, thanks for the time.
Thanks so much for having me.
And the women joining us. Quincy, thank you so much for being here. Big Ten championships start Friday. How do you describe what this first season as members of the Big Ten has been like for you all?
It's been great. I think starting with the indoor season, one of the things that we were looking forward to in terms of the indoor season is having a conference championship. And that's one of the things we didn't have in the Pac-12 in the 8 years as an assistant coach and the 4 years as a head coach. So our schedule is relatively the same. You know, we pick and choose where we want to go in competing wise. But in terms of at the end of the year, having an opportunity to get better, having an opportunity to have a conference championship, something with meaning, we were very excited about that. And so we're looking forward to that going in the outdoor season. And Oregon is a place that we're familiar with.
What's been the biggest surprise from this first year in the Big Ten?
Biggest surprise? A great question. I haven't been asked that. The biggest surprise is, there hasn't been really anything that stands out as a major surprise. It's very competitive. Being in the Big Ten and having an opportunity to compete against a lot of the other schools that we don't normally compete against. That's been great, but hasn't really been any surprises that stand out.
Well, we know the success of the men's team is not a surprise. It's been as good a season as anyone in the country has had. How come?
Just because we have some great student athletes and, you know, looking at how we can build the men's team over the last 4 years when I took over as the head track and field coach, I just knew that we need some balance and we need some depth. And I think we built our men's team around having some depth in the sprints. But also, if you look at our team overall, there's great balance there with the field event area. I have a tremendous coach, Coach Jeff, who's doing a tremendous job in the long jump area, Coach Martin in the throws area. So, you know, we're creating some depth, and that's allowing us to be very competitive when we go into the championship season.
You said previously the reason you're in a great position this year is because of last year. What did you mean by that?
Well, last year, I don't think our young athletes, I knew we had an opportunity last year to win a national championship. And I don't think our young athletes realized that. So we ended up third. But going into the last event, the 4x4, we had an opportunity to win the national championship, and we finished third. And our athletes, they came back, the ones that were there, our young athletes that were there at the championship, and they realized that they belong. And with that, they brought that, not the coaches, they brought that energy back to back into the beginning of the season. And we were a total different team. And I think the maturity factor there, understanding that you are worthy and you do belong on this elite level and competing with the best of the best in the country, that allowed us to be able to come back as a team, grow as a team, mature as a team, and just take the work ethic that I saw during the summer that these athletes would they would schedule on their own and create all these different workouts for the team and just become captains and leaders of the team. That leadership allowed us to win the national championship indoors.
Well, you mentioned elite, and let's turn our attention to the women's team this year. They are certainly nationally elite. What are the takeaways you can take away from last week's UCLA dual meet?
Well, just for the dual meet is always fun. And we don't, you don't take the dual meet serious until it's dual meet week, right? Our eyes is on Big Ten, our eyes is on national championship. And you don't take the UCLA USC dual meet, at least this year for me, until the week of the dual meet. You don't want to lose. But I think coming out of the dual meet, that wasn't one of our bright spots for the season. And we're just resetting off of that and getting ready for the national championship. We didn't have our best meet, but we had individual bright spots with Samara Moody, Madison White, and I think Samara is going to be really a bright spot for us this year. She's been hurt the last couple of years. So really look for her to emerge as a senior now and graduating to do something special at the NCAAs.
Quincy, you've spent your life in the sport of track and field. I haven't exactly. I'm more of a fringe fan, a novice, if you will. I want to ask you a macro question. I've never understood this. Why does field get equal billing? I mean, come on, track is doing all the heavy lifting and field is in the title.
Well, I think they go hand in hand, and they're a partnership, and we wouldn't be successful without field. So, we have some tremendous jumpers, and high. When I say jumpers, I mean the jump squad. You're looking at the on the runway. You have J.C. Stevenson, you have Johnny Brackens, two of the best in college ranks, and then if you go to the high jump, you have Elias Gerald, and he's one of the best in college in terms of the high jump. So, it's a marriage, and one can't live without the other. And I know I can't live without the field piece. So
I don't know, man. I think you're being kind. I think track does all the heavy lifting when it comes to track and field. But
you try to get me in trouble with my throws coach and my jumps coach.
Well, they're probably
nice try.
Yeah, I get you. They're probably strong. You probably don't want to be in trouble with them. You had great success yourself as an athlete. NCAA titles, Olympic gold, no team medal. And you've said you would treasure a team title over an individual one any day. How come?
Yeah, it's just special when you do it together. Individually, you have your own goals. And I've had a lot of success being on the island by myself. I've always been a leader, and I've always wanted to win together. And sometimes you just don't have enough pieces. I've been blessed to have some tremendous teammates that I've competed with. I've been blessed to have some really, really nice human beings and create some really great relationships throughout my time in sports as a high school athlete and a collegiate athlete. And also as an assistant coach, it's just fun winning together. And in my experience as an assistant coach, and when we won together on the women's side in 2018 and 2021, it was just such a great feeling. And I just want that for everybody. It just feels good when you can win together. And for me, I've won a lot individually. I have a lot of individual accolades. But just personally, for me, it feels good when you can win together because it's not just about you, right? You are a big part of the whole picture. And the whole picture is the national championship. And those kind of memories that you can create together as a team, I think they'll last a lifetime because these are memories that you will talk about when you get into your 50s, as I am right now, 50s going into your 60s. So, but these are the type of memories that last a lifetime.
You were competing and winning in the 92 Barcelona games. And I don't know, man, there's just something about those games, that particular 92 Barcelona games they just ring special to me. What's the first memory that pops into your head from being there?
Just the semifinals. In the semifinals, I broke the Olympic record, and when I crossed the line, I didn't realize that I had ran 43.71. It felt so easy, and it felt very smooth, and I thought it was maybe like a 45 qualifying round. And that moment right there, that defining moment, I knew I was going to win the Olympic Games.
Wow. That's pretty cool, man.
I knew I was going to be Olympic champion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Before we let you go, the first Big Ten championship coming up. What are you expecting?
Just great competition. We still working on some things going into the Big Ten championship, and just competing at a really high level, regardless of what's thrown at us. Being able to compete with adversity. If the weather's great, fine. If the weather's not great, everybody has to deal with the same weather. So just going in there focused, enjoying the moment, and looking to compete at a high level.
Quincy Watts from USC. Thanks so much for your time, and I'm just going to remember, it's not called field and track for a reason. Track gets first billing.
Appreciate you guys. You guys have a great day. Thanks for having me.
Gatorade Game Leaders takes us to the Big Ten baseball standings, and all you really need to focus on for the beginning of this segment is the top left. Look how close things are with Iowa, UCLA, and Oregon. There is a fight for the regular season championship, and it will be happening this weekend in the Big Ten. For more on that, we're happy to bring in our analyst, Scott Pose. And Scott, conference race this tight heading into the final weekend, can't ask for much more.
It's all you could ask for, and it's going to be an exciting matchup, especially that Oregon-Iowa series, because that's going to ultimately determine the conference champion. And UCLA could sneak in if things break differently, but it's going to come down to Iowa and Oregon and who can win that series and stay atop the conference.
And I want to dive in specifically to those series in a second. But before we do, kind of big picture, like Oregon was expected to be this good. UCLA had a rougher year last year, but people knew the talent they were bringing in. Give me some perspective on how big of a surprise Iowa's season has been this year.
Iowa was picked middle of the pack, and even talking to Rick Heller early in the year, he wasn't sure how good the team was going to be, but then all of a sudden they came together as a team, and they pretty much led from the jump. And what they have done is win every series, which is absolutely amazing. Among Power Four conferences, keep in mind, there's only been 3 teams that have won every one of their series: Texas, Clemson, and the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes are in the catbird seat for a good reason. They played well as a team. The question is, can they handle a very good team like Oregon this weekend?
So it's a 3-game series, Ducks and Hawkeyes. Perfect way to end it. Couldn't script a matchup much better than this. What's going to determine who wins this weekend between those two?
I think it's going to be the best team baseball. I think it's going to come down to, you've got the aces going on Friday, Grayson Grinsell for Oregon, Cade Obermiller, who's done an outstanding job for the Hawkeyes. That's going to be a knockdown drag out, and I think it's the team that can get the 2-out RBI can win that game. But I think it's probably going to come down to Sunday. Who's going to have the most arms left after the first 2 games, because this is going to be a dogfight. And then who can piece together the important situational hitting that it's going to take to win the ball game. I think it's going to be an exciting series, and your guess is as good as mine and who's going to come out on top, but I'm certainly going to have fun watching it.
If Iowa sweeps Oregon, they win the title outright, which, as you said, would be remarkable considering where they were expected to be in the middle of the pack this year. If Oregon sweeps and Northwestern sweeps, Oregon wins the title outright, which brings us to the Wildcat series. They take on UCLA. Now, the Bruins are still alive to win the Big Ten title as well this year.
Both teams have something to play for. UCLA, obviously, they have a shot at the conference regular season title. John Savage has done a tremendous job. He just got his 800th win just last week. He has done a tremendous job coming into a new conference with all the travel, and UCLA has an unbelievable amount of talent. But you cannot underscore what Northwestern has at stake. They have to win a game or 2 to extend their season. Ben Greenspan has done a tremendous job at Northwestern changing the culture. They have finished much better than they anticipated at the beginning of the year. They're going to be backed into a corner. They've got a veteran pitcher from Vanderbilt to transfer, Sam Leboki, who's done a tremendous job. So it's not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch for UCLA. And I'm interested to see what the Wildcats could come up with, because they could extend their season to next week if they have a good series this weekend.
And such a turnaround for the Cats. They've won 12 Big Ten games this year. They won 4 last year. They won 4 the year before that. How much of their success is the fact that they seem to have found the long ball in bunches this year?
Well, they've done it because of what Ben Greenspan has done and adjusted to his personnel, because it starts at the top, changing the culture. They can hit the ball out, and that's why they're a tough team to deal with, because you can get up comfortably. Next thing you know, it's a 3-run home run. They're right back in it, and then they catch fire. And I think that leadership that Leboki provides on the transfer, he's been the Swiss Army knife for them. He's pitched in a number of different roles and started pretty much each day of the weekend. So if Northwestern can bring him back, they have a chance and a fighting chance. But I think all credit goes to Ben Greenspan and what he has done in using his personnel, changing the culture, and establishing a winning mindset in Evanston.
Yeah, it's tough to do with the recent history, but it's done a great job. Nice turnaround this year. It's going to be hard for UCLA, but if the Bruins sweep Northwestern and Iowa loses 2, then UCLA gets the outright title. Those aren't the only series that you have your eye on this weekend. Why are you interested in Washington and USC?
Washington and USC, it's a traditional Pac-12 lineup, although they're in the Big Ten now. But Washington's playing for its tournament life as well. They want to clinch a seed. Dave Silvestri at USC has done an excellent job of bringing in a team to dominate in the Big Ten, and they have. They've played very well, and both he and John Savage have done it under some field uncertainty. USC is remodeling, so SC has to play in Irvine. That hasn't affected them. And then John Savage, it's well documented what happened to Jackie Robinson Field. They've had some uncertainty. But Eddie Smith at Washington has this team playing very well, and it could affect their seed in the tournament. But all schools that came from the Pac-12 have acclimated themselves extremely well in the Big Ten, have performed well, and they are near the top of the conference for good reason, because their coaches have done a good job of managing the travel, executing on the field, and pitching has been outstanding from all of those schools.
You know, you've been covering this sport and this league for a long time, and it wasn't that long ago that the Big Ten tournament format changed after that year where there were games basically starting at 1 in the morning. They said, well, let's tweak that a little bit. But there's a big adjustment this year. Now with the teams from the West Coast joining in, it's the first time we've had this current top 12 teams in the league format. What are your overall thoughts on it and what this week's going to be like?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting for fans in the Midwest to finally see these storied schools from the Pac-12. I mean, come out and watch them, because they're playing a great brand of baseball, and there's tremendous talent. There's a lot of All-Americans and potential first-round draft picks from this year and next that are going to be in Omaha. But it's going to be exciting because it's pool play. And I'm glad you brought this up, Mike, because what Washington and USC are playing for is a top 4 seed. Why that's significant is you get into a pool play, you're going to play 3 games. The top seed wins all tiebreakers. So if there's a tie and you're in one of those top 4 seeds, you're automatically on in the tournament. So that's at stake this weekend too, and coaches are keeping their eye on that. And that's what's happening in a lot of the series. But it's going to be a fun tournament, and then it gets to be single elimination after that, which helps the coaches that are getting ready to set the rotation for the NCAA tournament, which they're projecting 4, maybe 5 teams from the Big Ten getting in. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. You get to see more teams. You play pool play. There's some meaningful games in a great venue where everybody's trying to get at the end of the year, which is Omaha. But you get a preview of that in the Big Ten tournament. And also you have a fun week where you're playing some quality baseball and everybody boosts their RPI, which has been great for the Big Ten in general with these teams coming in. And Big Ten baseball is back on the map.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier how dangerous Northwestern can be and why this weekend matters, because they're on the fringe. They're tied for the 12th spot right now with Illinois and Michigan State. So as we enter the final weekend of the regular season, let's get people ready for the upcoming tournament by doing some recap year-end award stuff. Give me your Big Ten Player of the Year right now.
It's a 2-player race, and they're both going to be All-Americans. And I don't think you could go wrong with picking either. It's Rock Chalowski, the shortstop, UCLA. He has 18 home runs. He does everything for them. And then there's Mason Neville, the center fielder for Oregon, who leads the country with 26 home runs. You can't go wrong picking either player. I like Chalowski, but I think conventional wisdom, you cannot ignore the nation's home run leader, who's also hitting .322 and driving in a lot of runs. So I think Mason Neville gets it, but Rock Chalowski's a tremendous player. You couldn't go wrong with either.
Yeah, Neville's having a great year. It's always great for Oregon when your leadoff hitter can be doing so much damage and creating so much power. But yeah, Rock Chalowski, part of that UCLA team that's looking to potentially double their wins they had all of last year. Your Big Ten Pitcher of the Year is?
It's a 3-horse race, and you've got great pitchers. Kate Obermuller at Iowa, Grayson Grinsell at Oregon, but Joseph Jerwa gets it for me. He is a 4-time Big Ten Pitcher of the Week just coming into this. Last 2 weeks in a row, he's been dominant, and he's been a key part of that Michigan State team as they make a tournament run. But the tall, lanky lefty has really flourished. He's put on some weight. He started to develop a great fastball and sinker. The breaking ball is working for him too, but he knows how to pitch now. He's matured, and it's been fun to watch that. But he's been an incredible pitcher who has a very bright future on at the next level.
Yeah, no surprise, too. He was the Baseball America preseason Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. Scott Pose, it is always great to see you, man. Looking forward to hearing you all week long in the Big Ten tournament. Have a blast out there in Omaha.
Thanks, Mike. It's always great to talk to you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Back to the NBA draft, still more than a month away, but the Combine is going on now. Here's a look at John Fanta's mock from Fox Sports. 5 Big Ten guys he has going in the first 14, which includes Maryland's Derek Queen, and Derek Queen chatted with Andy Katz.
In what way did your game grow the most at Maryland?
My conditioning and I ain't really shoot that much my 11th and senior year at Mount Vernon, and probably I felt like I shot a fair amount. I mean, I made a fair amount of jump shots.
What do you remember the most about the shot that'll be remembered forever at Maryland?
I just remember what was said in the huddle. I'm pretty sure all y'all know. Coach Willard asked who wanted the ball. I said I wanted the ball, and then my roommate Deshaun was just bringing the energy, saying we're not about to lose this game. And then I checked my phone after. Like, I didn't know it was gonna be a big deal and stuff. And then once I sat down from Baltimore after that blew up too. So it was like lots of fun.
And what are your finest memories then of your time at Maryland?
Just me being with my team, like they my guys, like us having fun. Love the staff, like the academic advisors, Keegan, Chastity. Love them. Basketball staff, Coach Willard, Bricky, Greg, DC, Stank, all of them. Just it was a lot of fun just meeting some great people.
And how ready are you for this next step?
Super ready. I can't wait.
The Michigan Wolverines have produced a handful of first-round draft picks recently. Going back just the last 7 years, you see 5 players taken in the first round. Will Danny Wolf be next? He also talked with Andy.
I think at Yale I was in more of a center position, and we did a lot of 5-out and Euro motion. And then at Michigan I played predominantly at the 4 and was in a bunch of ball screen actions and DHOs and played with another big, and kind of expanded my game in that sense. At first we had a lot of shooting and there was a bunch of spacing, and then you had a bunch of high-level guys around us that made it work, and then Vlad has some of the best hands and some of the best finishing in all of college basketball, and he made everything so seamless.
All right, some other stuff to get to as we go around the Big Ten. Men's lacrosse tournament well underway. Big Ten teams still alive, including Penn State taking on Notre Dame coming up on Sunday afternoon. Maryland also will face Georgetown shortly thereafter. If either one wins, they're off to the semifinals coming your way May 24th. Tennis, anyone? Let's check in on the men's side. UCLA has Texas up next for them. That will be happening on Friday. As for the women's side of things, Michigan is going to move on to take on Oklahoma State. As tennis continues, we're now down to just 8 left. So we got a busy day coming up later on this evening. Baseball coming your way. You got Northwestern and UCLA. The Bruins ranked in the top 15 in the country. We heard earlier with Scott Post how important that is for both teams. That's at 6 o'clock Central Time right here on the Big Ten Network. When that is done, USC at Washington. That is 9 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock out on the West Coast. Again, that's very important as well, because the Big Ten baseball tournament is coming your way next week. So we got the last weekend of games in baseball happening all weekend long right here on the Big Ten Network. That'll do it for us. I'm Mike Hall. Congrats, Sam. Nice first show.